It's here. Countdown to Christmas finally arrived. So we've got the first 4 movies that released. 3 of them are on Hallmark Channel and 1 of them was over on Hallmark Movies and Mystery. But before we talk about those, we have some breaking news I want to quickly just hit on. Very excited. Hallmark Channel just announced they have signed Erin Cahill to an exclusive deal. So she will not be going over to the Evil Empire. She'll be staying right here on Hallmark Channel. We love Erin Cahill. Fantastic. So great news. All right, let's talk Christmas, right? We've been waiting. We've been teased all along with the countdown to Christmas, and finally it arrived. We did our preview, and now we get to see what the movies are really like. And I have to say, the first movie, which was Noel Next Door, I wasn't really having very high expectations for. I had ranked it 27th on my preview list. It has Natalie Hall in it and Corey Seaver, and they starred together in Road Trip Romance. Wasn't the best movie, that fell flat. In fact, I didn't even finish it, and that's really rare for me because even on bad movies I usually enjoy, but it was just one I just couldn't get into. And then Natalie Hall, I really like her, but for some reason, I don't know if she has a problem with Hallmark, or they just like, oh, this is a terrible script, give it to Natalie, she'll do it, she owes us, or if she just has bad selection or what it is, but she always seems to be, despite her charming, adorable personality, in just the dogs of the movie. And not the good dogs, the dogs, right? So going into this, wasn't too excited. And then when I saw the preview for it, the trailer, it just confused the hell out of me. Didn't help. The description of the movie, just, So the bar was low. And I have to say, I was so pleasantly surprised. The movie turned out to be completely cute, very, very adorable, had some very, very saucy moments, very un-Hallmarky type moments in it. And then just the overall story, it wasn't the best Hallmark movie, but it was a fantastic movie to kick off the holiday season, to get us going, and I really thoroughly enjoyed it. In fact, I was driving to work today, and I just started thinking about the movie, and I smiled. And, that's really what we wanted from a Hallmark movie, right? So what did I like? First of all, I have to say Natalie Hall, she nailed it. Her character was truly, likable, adorable, cute, fantastic fashion throughout it. Loved her outfits, especially when she was going out on date night and she had this just hot leather skirt going and the sweaters. She looked fantastic. Her hair was just on point all movie. So physically, fashion-wise, she brought it, but then also her just character and her acting, and it was just a great job, which I was so excited that Natalie Hall finally got a good movie. So that was super exciting. And the chemistry between the two of them, it had definitely steam to it. There were some times when they just looked at each other, and it had heat. So great chemistry between the two of them, which was funny because in Road Trip Romance, I thought there was zero chemistry between the two of them. So somehow they figured out how to do it, and they really brought it. I mentioned how this wasn't really Hallmarky in some ways because some of the content, it was just saucy, okay? They touched on things that Hallmark you wouldn't expect from them. First of all, there was a tampon joke in there. Like, it was hilarious, it was great, it was appropriate, it was just awesome, but you don't really see that in a Hallmark movie, right? So once I saw that, I'm like, okay, something's different in this movie. Another thing, a little scene later when Natalie Hall is talking to her ex and she's, having a little phone battle with him, and she calls it her, his fiancée, the mistress hygienist, or the hygienist mistress, one or the other, or whatever. but like actually go out full out calling someone a mistress in a Hallmark movie, you don't see that. So it brought a little realism, in it, but it was also kind of in the scene, a little bit of that, like I say, saucy humor to it. But like I say, usually, the exes are like, oh, you're the most fantastic person ever. We both amicably decided to split. Oh, isn't life wonderful? But no, like she was calling out adultery on here. And like I said, wasn't straight up. It was just that hint. So, kudos. It was great. Another thing that it dealt with that was, kind of not Hallmarky was when they had the inevitable conflict, because at every Hallmark movie there's that conflict with about 10 minutes to go, right? It's the formula. But Corey Seaver, he realizes he blew it. He goes back and he's all upset, uncorks that bottle of vodka and just starts doing shots until he basically passes out. And yeah, we have some cocktail drinking and stuff like that. But seeing someone just literally drink themselves into stupor, you don't see that really in a Hallmark movie. So it really added some depth to this character and everything like that. The other thing, not to get too serious, but, his character had suffered a stroke. So he is dealing with some physical issues there, and Hallmark addressed them about ableism and things like that. Not too heavy-handed. It stayed in the Hallmark world, but it did touch on them, which was nice. It just had that, we're going to let you know that we're aware and this is an issue. So that was kind of interesting. The other thing is they both went on a blind date. Natalie Hall's character's blind date, who, by the way, she was Noel. But her character brings over her sister's husband brings this friend over, and why they're friends, I don't quite get it, but whatever. Brings over the friend, and the guy's like a flat earther, and obviously has all the other conspiracy theories going, pretty much can read through the lines. He's a QAnon type dude. Okay? So needless to say, she's trying, but it's just a bad blind date. And so that was a little funny and everything like that. And then when he went on a blind date, it was just the opposite. It was the woman was like, okay, I get it, whatever, you had your stroke, you've got some issues. And then he sits down and he can't really get his jacket off in the restaurant. And she like gets all mad at him because he has these physical limitations of what he can do. And basically she's like, you know what, let's just call it out of here. I don't even want to deal with this. And so, that was rough. But that's where it came into one of that, we talked about the chemistry between the two of them. Natalie Hall, she's a waitress at the restaurant, comes over, helps him take off the coat. It was just a hot scene. Like literally just took off his coat being, helpful. But at that moment, that's when that fire of that relationship just ignited. Explosion. Going, right? From that moment on, full-fledged, it was happening. So, all in all, the movie, like I say, it wasn't a great Hallmark movie, but it certainly was a good Hallmark movie. Some of the people who have talked about it was Natalie Hall. She was a single mom, and she had this kid who would kick his soccer ball up against the wall, Corey Seaver's, of his, I think it's like a townhouse, I guess. And it just annoyed him, and that's why he was a Grinch and everything. And really, yeah, the kid was annoying. He shouldn't have been kicking the ball. They're doing a soccer tryout in Chicago in December with all the snow and everything like that, of which I don't know what soccer tryout is going on in December in Chicago with a bunch of snow. But the kid, he was warned, and he just kept doing it again. So the kid was annoying, and he didn't apologize. So, yeah, not the best kid in the thing. Though later on, in his defense, it was the kid who did bring him together, because the kid did end up going to Corey Seaver and apologizing for all his little, shitty behavior, because the big conflict of it was Natalie Hall found out that the Corey Seaver and her son had this like little dispute going and everything like that. So she stood by her kid thinking, oh, my kid can do no wrong, of which he was doing a ton of wrong. But the kid ended up going apologizing, and then, sort of brought them all together and allowed the big romance to happen. So, all in all, I have to say, worth it. Watch it, enjoy it. You're going to get that light Hallmark, good, good feelings, like I say, with that extra bit of saucy in it. So that's all fantastic. Okay, what didn't I like? There wasn't a lot that I didn't like. You definitely had to do some Hallmark check-in, not necessarily reality, but not diving too deep into some of the plot and some of the things that went on to it. But it was a good, fluffy, Hallmark Christmassy type movie. So as a result, there really wasn't too much I didn't like about the movie. So, that's good. What do? I give it 3.5 hearts. Good start. Not a great movie, but definitely a good start. Great. Okay, so let's move on to the next movie. The next movie was We Wish You a Merry Christmas with Kristoffer Pohala and Marisol Nichols. Both fantastic actors. So this was a movie that I had rated in middle of the pack. With those 2 stars, you would have thought I would have rated it really high. I've got Kristoffer Pohala as my #1 actor in my rankings for Hallmark. But the problem was, the premise of the movie was they're a married couple who's going through all these issues, and they're just not happily married. So they go off to, spend a week right before Christmas as a way to sort of hopefully reconnect and things like that. And so I was worried the movie was going to be a downer, right? Like we just talked about Noel Next Door, and I liked it because it was just happy, fluffy. Yes, it had some serious issues, but for the most part, it was just happy, wonderful, make you smile, don't think too hard, enjoy yourself. And this one, like I said, I was worried, the unhappy couple was a downer. And you know what? It turned out to be a downer. I was so disappointed because I saw the previews and it had these alpacas in it, and there's a lot of comedy in it. So it looked like it was going to be funny. And sure, the movie had these comedic elements to it, but really the movies are 1 hour and 20 minutes, I think, somewhere give or take. And probably of that 1 hour and 20 minutes, you've got 1 hour and 10 minutes where they're just struggling. There's little moments, but for the most part, they're not getting along. And it's just depressing. I felt angst watching it. Even when the comedy came in, it wasn't enough because it immediately went right down into one of the downers. They just really were struggling with the relationship. They would take, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. They never were, 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. They just make a little progress, come back. Make a little more progress, come further back. And it's not what I want on a Hallmark movie. I was thinking, watching it, it may be better over in Hallmark Movies and Mystery. Because here's the thing that's really strange about it. It was actually a good movie, right? The acting in it, both of them were fantastic. But it wasn't light and fluffy, and that's what we want on Hallmark Channel, especially during the holidays. Hallmark Movies and Mystery, that can handle some of that drama. And the movie was definitely more drama than Warm Fuzzies. So it would have been over there, probably I would be saying, oh my God, this movie is so good. This is a great movie because the acting in it was so good. The story was, for what it was, really good. It's just not what I want on Hallmark during the holidays. So as a result, I'm giving it 2.5 hearts because it was just a downer. That's what I can say. It was a downer. Okay, moving on to the third movie, A Kismet Christmas. So this is a movie that I was super excited for. I had it ranked, I think, somewhere around 10, but I was saying it was my pick to be the sleeper hit. It had magical cookies. I thought that's fantastic. How great is that for a holiday movie? It also had Carlos Marco, who in Chesapeake Shores I really like, and some of his other movies I've really enjoyed him. So he's a really good actor. Mary Lou Henner, come on, she always brings it. It doesn't matter what movie she's in, she brings it. Sometimes she's not likable and she's fantastically good at being not likable. Other times she's very likable and all that. She's just a good actress. So, and then I had Susan Ramos. I'm not super familiar with her, but she did a fantastic job in the movie. But I was excited. And then watching the movie, I have to say, I wanted to like it so bad, but there was something that just kept holding me back. And what it was a little thing called Jazzy. Ugh. Carlos Marco's daughter in the movie was Jazzy. First of all, hated the name. Her full name was Jasmine, but they called her Jazzy. She was just such a huge part of the plot that I just found it distracting. And I normally don't even like kids in Hallmark movies, right? They're typically just the worst. And I have to say, her character wasn't necessarily the worst, but her impact in the movie was the worst. Because everything, it was about this, oh, hey, let's go do this. Oh, what about Jazzy? Jazzy would like that. Oh, doing this. Oh, Jazzy's going to text me. Oh, let's do this. Oh, I need to get tree. I promised Jazzy this, Jazzy that. Jazzy. Too much freaking Jazzy. Couldn't handle it. I know a lot of people really liked the movie and it didn't bother them, but for me, too much Jazzy. Focus on their relationship. When they stayed in that, it was good. I really liked where they were going. They were, friends from way back when. The Kismet cookies, which was a great story. They found the recipe in the wall, and they're these magical cookies that you make this secret recipe, and then you give the cookie to someone, they put it under the pillow, and they sleep, and they dream of their true love that whole night. That part was great. The relationship of her coming back and reconnecting with her childhood friend who, when she had her Kismet cookie, she dreamt of him. But the little thing was, he didn't tell her he was getting married. And so she was like, oh, the Kismet cookies are the worst. I don't believe in them because I dreamt about him, but he went off and married this other woman. And he never should have got married because getting married, he bore this Jazzy. Ugh. But whatever, I digress. But like the Kismet cookies, their thing, all that was great. Loved it. If they could have just stayed with that and had Jazzy just be a character. So yeah, he's a dad, he has a kid. They touch on it, comes in every now and then. Like a normal Hallmark movie where the kids, they're really not getting much supervision because they're only like a little part of the plot. But no, this one was just thundering on us. So like I said, I loved the Kismet cookie aspect of it. Marilu Henner, she did bring her A game. She was great. Carlos Marco, who I said I was expecting to be a strength, his character was just like this dad who, in my opinion, was like so unhealthily attached to Jazzy. Like everything, like I said, was Jazzy. I found his character just, And then Susan Ramos, I really want to see her in more movies. I loved her character. I loved the progression of her character. She was a children's author struggling to write a book, and I thought they just handled her character great. She was fantastic. Marilu Henner's friends and the other old ladies in the community with their Kismet cookies and all that aspect, they were great. All the rest of the movie was so good. It could have been a fantastic movie, but unfortunately it wasn't. One of the other bright spots in the movie, though, was Susan Ramos. Her name was Sarah in the movie. Her agent was Benny. And the guy who played Benny did a fantastic job playing Benny. He's been in a bunch of different Hallmark stuff before. You'd always know him. He's always one of the, the side characters and stuff like that. So he was really delightful in the movie. They always do in a Hallmark movie where as soon as you mention a name, they're always like, oh, you love him, and they go over the top. Yeah, he did it a little bit, but he did it in a good, restrained way. That's one of the things I love in Hallmark movies when they go full out Hallmark, but yet they do it in a restrained way. I just love when that happens. And he did a great job there. So kudos to that. So all in all, I give Kismet cookie, same thing as We Wish You a Merry Christmas, 2.5 stars. It's good. Just if you can get by her. And like I said, a lot of people weren't fazed by her at all. That could be you. And if so, it may be a fantastic movie. It may be 4 stars for you, 4 hearts. You may not be bothered by her. And for you, it's a solid 4 heart movie. I hope it is. For me, As I said, you may have figured it out now. I was jazzercised. Ugh, couldn't handle it. So that brings us over to our final movie that was over on Hallmark Movies and Mystery. We Need a Little Christmas. And this movie starred Eric Durance. She was in the Color Your Life with Love movie earlier this year. And she was great in it. The woman is just beautiful. This movie was definitely much more serious. The basic premise is her husband had died earlier in the year, about a year, coming on that year anniversary. This is the first holidays without him. She has a little kid. He's struggling. They're trying to really adapt to the new situation, trying to figure out how to get through the holidays. They had moved to a new house. They kind of downsized, and she is just going through this tough time. So they have a neighbor. She's an older lady, a grandma type. She's a counselor at the little winter camp that her son is going to, and so they sort of all three of them start bonding. She's also a architectural designer. I'm guessing that's like an interior designer, but I'm not sure exactly what an architectural designer is. But she, lo and behold, starts helping the local restaurant guy redesign his place. That's sort of the relationship throughout the movie. This isn't a romantic movie, though. There's little hints of it. Her and Peter, who owns the restaurant, you can see they start, getting some attraction for each other. I thought they handled that part beautifully. They sort of brought it out. She was talking to her neighbor and saying, like, I definitely have feelings for the guy, but I'm just not ready. It's just not the time. And I thought they handled it beautifully because she's acknowledging, yeah, it's coming. She's just like, I just need to finally get through this holiday and then I can start exploring things. For my healing, she just needed to do that. So I thought they handled it beautifully, and there's not too much pressure. You definitely know they like each other. You definitely know there's that attraction. But that was about it. You knew it was there. And kind of like in the other movie, when she wants to show like she's interested, that woman, she can give the look. And woo, hot. She looks, and it is just like raw passion. So she gave it a little bit in the movie, but once again, it was restrained. So because she was not ready to go there, but she gave it enough to know that I'm interested in you. So one of the other interesting parts of the movie was the son was really bonding with the grandma character next door. And as he was struggling with the feelings that he was going through the first holiday without his dad, his mom's trying to, make everything as normal as possible. And he's just not wanting it to be normal. He's wanting it to move on, but he doesn't know how to talk to his mom. He doesn't know how to express it with her. But he's able to, communicate better with the grandma next door. And then when Erica finds out about that, she gets jealous, she gets upset. She's like, no, I'm his mom. I need you to step back. Let me handle it. It was a conflict, but it wasn't really the conflict. It was really genuine because she got away from there. And as she was talking to her son, she realized, no, that was a really healthy relationship he was having with the woman next door who was helping him process everything. And she didn't need to be jealous. She should be appreciative. And so she quickly understood and owned up to her mistake. So I thought they handled it beautifully. The movie had a very slow pace. It sometimes may have gotten a little too slow, but all in all, I thought it was a very heartwarming, touching movie. Like I said, it had that little hint of the romance that you knew was starting to stir, but it never went there. I really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was, once again, very well acted. The acting in it, with the exception of the kids, when the kids had to do especially when they were acting together, no. But all the adults in there were really strong actors. It was just a great drama. It would have been great if Hallmark had had 2 Hallmark movies and 2 Hallmark movies of mystery, because you move We Wish You a Merry Christmas over into this category, and the 2 of them been fantastic together. I'm going to give this a 4 heart. Heart's not really the right thing to do it because, like I say, there wasn't really that, relationship in it, but that's how I rate movies, so there we go. It's a 4 heart movie. I can give it 4 snowflakes. How's that? We'll give it 4 snowflakes for being a holiday movie that had no romance in it. All right, so there I go. I recapped all 4 movies. All of them are movies that are completely watchable. It was a really, strong start to the countdown to Christmas season. The only thing I'd say were downplay Jazzy's role in A Kismet Christmas and move We Wish You a Merry Christmas over to Hallmark Movies and Mystery. And we have a fantastic start to the holiday season. But all in all 4 of them I'd watch. I did watch them all, but like I said, I'd recommend watching them all. None of them were bad. None of them were terrible. None of them were like, you gotta skip this. So there we go. What I'm really excited for, though, is upcoming is Jolly Good Christmas. That movie, the more I see the previews, Rashma Shetty, man, I have a new Hallmark crush. That woman is just beautiful. Her accent, I'm normally not like into accents and stuff like that. Her accent is just sexy as can be. And Will Kemp, that dude, he's smoldering. Is that the right word? Smoldering? I don't know. But the 2 of them, as I've mentioned before in my preview, they are just bringing sex, okay? The 2 of them, woo! I'm not sure. There could be the biggest plot holes in this movie. There already is the main thing in it that she's helping him buy a gift card for his girlfriend. So, terrible idea there. And he's the British actor who's acting as an American who goes over to England. Why they didn't do whatever we talked about. It's supposed to be Ryan Pavey, but I don't care about any of that. The 2 of them are just steaming hot. So I'm going to enjoy that movie. All right, that's it. Until next week, I'll watch 4 more movies. I'll give you the thoughts. I'll let you know if there's any of them you need to skip, any of them that you have to watch multiple times that are instant classics. Until then, I'm the Hallmark Movie Reviewer, and we'll see you next time.